Hello, our mighty Saurus and Sora. It is a nice day to learn about fossils, dinosaurs, and many other prehistoric creatures, isn't it? Well, in the previous video, we explored one of the weirdest ancient relatives of modern elephants, the shovel-tusked Platybelodon. However, Platybelodon are not the only weird member of the Proboscidea order. As you know, many members of the Proboscidea order possess a special structure called tusks, which can vary in number and shape, but most of them grow forward. They can be a formidable weapon, a tool for male individuals to show off and win the right to mate with female ones. However, in history, there existed a small group of the Proboscidea order that went against this trend, namely the Deinotherium family, with the most notable member being Deinotherium, a trunked animal that lived from the Middle Miocene to the early Pleistocene. Today, let's find out what makes Deinotherium and its relatives so special. Are you ready? Let's get started. We all know that modern elephants are the largest land animals. However, they don't seem to be very diverse, as today there are only two existing genera, the Asian elephant and the African elephant. Their appearance is also very distinctive, with a large head, a strong body placed on four sturdy pillar-like legs, large ears, two tusks growing from the upper jaw, and a trunk that has evolved to grasp, reach for distant food or water sources to compensate for their relatively inflexible neck and head. Nevertheless, in the past, the lineage of elephants was much more diverse than it is now. We know of cold climate elephants with thick, warm fur like mammoths, which we no longer see in modern elephants. We have elephants with tusks in both the upper and lower jaws. We have small elephants that only reach the waist of an adult human, living on some Mediterranean islands in prehistoric times. We have elephants with lower jaws that have evolved to possess a shovel-like structure. And while most species in the Proboscidea order, if they have tusks, the tusks will grow forward, there once existed an elephant with tusks growing downward, looking very strange and beyond our understanding when we first discovered them. That is Deinotherium. The story of Deinotherium begins in the 17th century when a French doctor named Matsurier found the bones of a large animal in an area known as the Field of Giants. Matsurier exhibited these bones throughout France, marketing them as the bones of an ancient French king. After a while, the French authorities heard about this and forced Matsurier to hand over the bones. Matsurier's unidentified specimens were given to the National Museum of Natural History in France, and by 1775, researchers there believed they were the bones of an animal very similar to a mammoth. Georges Cuvier, the renowned French zoologist of the late 18th and early 19th centuries, believed these were the bones of a giant tapir, and he named it Tapir gigantesque. Another hypothesis proposed alongside Cuvier's suggested that these were the bones of an ancient sea cow, and they used their tusks to anchor themselves to the seabed while sleeping. In 1829, based on fossil skulls and jaws found in Germany, naturalist Johann Jacob von Kopp established the genus Deinotherium to describe these specimens, with the type species being Deinotherium giganteum. Deinotherium is derived from Deinos, meaning terrible, like Deino in dinosaur, and Therion, meaning beast. Giganteum means giant, referring to the large size of Deinotherium. At that time, Kopp thought Deinotherium was an evolutionary link between sloths and mastodons. In the following years, many similar fossils were discovered, reinforcing the idea that Deinotherium was a member of the Proboscidea order. They also helped identify new species within this genus, although many of them were invalid. In total, the genus Deinotherium has three valid species: Deinotherium giganteum, Deinotherium bozasi, and Deinotherium indicum. The habitat of Deinotherium, based on fossil data, ranged from southern Europe to eastern Africa and eastward to the Indian subcontinent. Like modern elephants, Deinotherium was a large quadrupedal animal. Typical individuals of this genus could stand about 3.5 meters tall at the shoulder and weigh an estimated 8 to 12 tons. However, A male individual reaching about 45 years old was estimated to stand 4 meters tall at the shoulder and weigh 13.2 tons. In comparison, the largest living elephant species, the African bush elephant, stands 3 to 3.3 meters tall at the shoulder and weighs 5.2 to 6.9 tons. It can be seen that Deinotherium reached top sizes within the Proboscidea order and could be the largest herbivore in its ecosystem, a real challenge for any predator. Another feature that sets Deinotherium apart from modern elephants is its relatively short, low, and flat skull, rather than high and domed. The largest Deinotherium skulls measure 1.2 to 1.3 meters in length. They may also have had a large, muscular trunk based on their wide nasal openings. However, the exact length and shape of this trunk in Deinotherium remain a topic of debate among scientists. Some believe it was as long as that of modern elephants, while others argue it was thicker but shorter. Nevertheless, it had to be long enough for the animal to reach water sources. Of course, what makes Deinotherium famous as a terrible beast is not just its size, but also its extremely strange lower jaw structure within the Proboscidea order, which we can almost immediately recognize. The lower jaw of Deinotherium extended and curved downward, from which 2 tusks grew straight down to the ground. In some specimens, the curvature was so pronounced that it almost formed a semicircle. These tusks could reach lengths of 1 meter or more, with the largest reaching up to 1.4 meters. If we only look at their skulls with downward-pointing tusks, they resemble quite bizarre and frightening demon faces. But with skin and flesh, they would look much more presentable. Based on observed features in Deinotherium fossils and comparisons with related species in the Proboscidea order, both living and extinct, scientists today believe Deinotherium was a leaf-eating animal that preferred open forest environments where it could forage among the treetops for tasty leaves. Their teeth resemble those of modern tapirs, animals that primarily eat fruits, flowers, bark, and leaves. Compared to its earlier relative, Deinotherium, Deinotherium had limbs suited for long-distance travel, allowing them to move frequently in search of food from place to place without being confined to a specific territory. The unique tusks of Deinotherium have also been thoroughly analyzed. Scientists do not believe these downward-growing tusks were used for digging or were a sexual dimorphism feature between male and female Deinotherium. Instead, the tusks show wear marks as if they were rubbed against hard objects like tree bark. Therefore, scientists today infer that Deinotherium used these unique tusks as tools to remove branches obstructing their access to tasty leaves. With their position and shape, Deinotherium could not use the tusks as weapons to fight other individuals of the same species in mating rituals. Perhaps male Deinotherium had to find other ways to become winners in the race for love. As mentioned, Deinotherium, though unique, was not lonely in the family tree of the Proboscidea order. They became the typical genus for a separate family called Deinotheridae, which currently includes 3 genera: Deinotherium, Chilgotherium, and Deinotherium. Chilgotherium may be the ancestor of both Deinotherium and Deinotherium. This genus was small and originated from the African continent. The northward movement of the African tectonic plate eventually led to an event called the Proboscidea dispersal event, allowing Proboscidea species to enter the Eurasian continent and become increasingly diverse. Chilgotherium existed during the late Oligocene, about 33.9 to 23 million years ago, and is the most primitive member of the family. Next is Deinotherium, which existed from the early Miocene to the middle Miocene about 20 million to 15 million years ago. Finally, Deinotherium, which existed from the middle Miocene to the early Pleistocene about 15 million to 2.5 million years ago, and is considered the most successful genus in the family. There is a continuous progression in their chronology, habitat, size, and some morphological features, suggesting a direct ancestor-descendant relationship. Like Platybelodon, the exact cause of Deinotherium's extinction remains unclear. However, the latest hypotheses suggest that they went extinct due to habitat changes as forests turned into grasslands during the later stages of the Neogene period. It is possible that the extinction of species like Deinotherium paved the way for the development of grassland-adapted Proboscidea species, such as mammoths. Life is like that, ever-changing, with old giving way to new, as species succeed one another, writing a rich history of life on Earth. That was some interesting information about Deinotherium, the unique proboscidean with downward-growing tusks. Today's video has come to an end. We sincerely thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and follow to stay updated with new contents in the future. For now, goodbye and see you in our next videos.